Hi everyone, I'm Rudy at Leviadon Painting Studio. Today's video guide is going to be on how to paint a Napoleonic French Aide-de-camp. This is from the Perry Miniatures FN3 code. It's a metal model. It comes with a separate horse. We're concentrating on the uniform of an aide-de-camp today. The first colour I've got is Games Workshop Contrast Leviadon Blue. The model's been base coated with grey and then has had a dusting of white from above as well. So as I apply this to the jacket, I can talk a bit about what on earth an aide-de-camp is. They were officers who had a battlefield role of ferrying orders around and observing where the different corps were and reporting back to the generals. On the jacket we've got lapels here, which I will be painting in Leviadon blue. The piping around the outside is going to be a lighter blue, sort of a sky blue, so I'll try and avoid them. The base coat for his trousers is going to be with Contrast Bascilicanum grey. There's a nicely sculpted stripe down the side of the trouser leg. I'm going to avoid painting that, and we'll paint that with the sky blue later on. I've got some Contrast Black Legion. So there's things like the boots and stirrup, also the furry part of the hat, not the fabric bit, the sort of pointed triangle you can see there, the flam, avoid that. Parts of the scabbard as well, avoiding the tip and the top. And a little bit of the cartridge box, avoiding some of the edges, and there's a eagle design on this one. For the face I've got some Speedpaint Peachy Flesh from the Army Painter. Try and avoid the mustache and sideburns, but we'll give them a coating later. I'm going to do the hands in gloves, so I'll leave them white for now. I'm going to use some Contrast Blood Angels Red. And the ribbon tied around his arm. Again, trying to avoid the edges. They're going to have a bit of gold braid. And at the end of the tassels. Wyldwood GW contrast paint will be used to pick out hair, fine mustache, and sideburns. To do the piping, I have some Army Painter Fanatic Artic gem. I've got piping around the cuffs, collar, lapels, and on the rear of the model, the turnbacks. I'm also going to use this colour for the flam. So this fabric bag on the callback. Now down the centre and around the edge, I'm going to leave a bit of space. I'm going to have some gold lace piping there. Final thing to pick out with the Artic gem is the stripe on the trousers. Been back over some of the messed up over painted bits with some matte white from the army painter. I've now got some Speedpaint polished silver for things like the stirrups and the spurs. One of the key reasons for going over with the white was that I'm going to be using Speedpaint glittering loot. There's quite a lot of areas with gold lace in them, including the crossbelt, epaulets, aforementioned piping, parts of the sabre, the chin strap for the colpack, which is tied up, cartridge box, there's the eagle design, also the piping, tassel and piping, and the flam. So quite a lot to pick out in this gold. Doing a bit of dry brushing now. This is Army Painter Fanatic Deep Grey. Picking out the textured fur, also things like tips of the boots. I've got some Army Painter Ash Grey for another dry brush this time. Trousers. Got lots of nice texture sculpted onto these, which the dry brush picks out. This is also useful for sort of more extreme bright highlights. Areas like the scabbard. And also tips of the toes. And maybe around the top of the fur as well. I'm going to do a wash, fairly extensive, not quite all over. I'll avoid the face. This is Army Painter Dark Tone in equal parts dilution with Speedpaint Medium. Time to apply some highlights. I'm starting with the blue jacket. I've got Army Painter Fanatic Gothic Blue. And with most highlighting, it's going to be a few areas towards the upper surfaces or the edges that I'll pick out with this colour. Second highlight for the jacket is with Army Painter Fanatic Ultramarine Blue. And that's really just for where the fabric's a bit tighter, like on the elbow. It's catching lots of light there. And again with the ultramarine blue, edges of the cuffs, and on the back at sort of the top of the back where the light's coming from above. Got the Artic gem back out. I'm going to highlight up the sky blue areas, like the flam on top of the colpack. So as well as the flam, working on the trousers, and piping on the jacket. Second highlight colour for the sky blue is some Fanatic Bright Sapphire. Again, just placing that where the light's going to catch the most. Just a couple of little dots perhaps at the points of the cuffs. Gone back to the ash grey, and I'm adding some highlights on the trousers. There's a couple of folds that would be catching a bit more light. along the front of the thigh. And still with the ash grey, let's redefine some of the highlights on the black from dry brushing earlier. The Fanatic matte white to highlight the gloves and straps. I'm going to do a brief skin highlight with some Army Painter Fanatic Ruby Skin. My highlight colour for the hair is Fur Brown from the Army Painter. A little bit of Army Painter Fanatic Angelic Red. I'm going to use this to highlight the red of the ribbon around his arm. A glaze of Army Painter Field Grey around the chin. I'm going to bring some luster back to the metallics. Some Army Painter Greedy Gold. Last highlight is some Army Painter Shining Silver. Time to mount the aide-de-camp on his steed. Take a still of the finished base and talk over the results. So here we have the aide-de-camp mounted and based alongside a General de Division. This would be a suitable command base for a game of Black Powder, where you may expect to have a division of a few brigades on the table. I like adding an aide-de-camp to a bigger command base to sort of denote well, in this case, perhaps the army commander. And I think that a good way to make your command bases stand out from each other is to gradually make them bigger and bigger as you go up the ranks with more models on them. The model was mainly painted with Army Painter Speedpaint and Games Workshop Contrast paints. And I think after or even possibly before the wash stage, you could leave the model at that and plonk him straight onto the table. I came back to do some highlights. I've gradually been growing my collection of Army Painter War Paints Fanatic paints. So it was a nice exercise for me to go through the highlighting process using them today. Quite impressed, I have to say. So I may do a video soon where I'm just using the Army Painter Fanatic paints, see how they work with their triad layering system. I don't quite have the full range by any stretch of the imagination, but perhaps enough for one specific uniform. So we'll see what comes next. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, didn't like it, please let me know below. Bye for now.